Hey guys, and welcome to your daily mobility flow. Today we are going to work from the ankle up. So we're going to start with our ankles and we're going to go with little Achilles mobilization to start things off. So we're going to go right here. You can sit or you can stand or you can squat or half kneel, but either way, what we want to do is be able to put your weight down on this knee and drive it down towards the ground. So I'm trying to close the angle of my shin bone to my foot. So I want to shrink that angle. I'm just going to work back and forth. We won't spend a ton of time on any one thing today because we're going to try to just kind of open up all your joints. That's what today is about. Just a little joint opener. Let's go ahead and switch sides. Push that knee down towards the ground. We're kind of getting a little knee opening at the same time just by having the knee joint flexed or closed here, but we're not counting this one as the knee. So this is ankles. We're going to do a lazy man's quad stretch today. So let's lay down on your side. And we're just going to old school like you're standing, but it's just like the easiest way to do this. So I'm going to try to pull that knee back behind the body, push this hip forward. So this is my left side, drive that hip forward, pull that heel up towards your butt. Lazy man's quad stretch. Super easy, pretty chill way to do it. You can stand up if you want, it's totally fine. But pretty simple way. Let's change sides. So you can just roll over. I'm gonna keep facing the camera. Pull that heel into your butt. This is a great one, if you need to teach somebody who maybe doesn't have the best balance or the best mobility, you want to teach them how to stretch their quads, just have them do it like this down their sides. I've taught my grandma this multiple times. It's like, hey, you remember that stretch? No, which stretch? The one where you lay in your bed and you pull that leg in, works pretty well. All right, so that was half of the knee. We want the hamstrings too as the other half. So we're gonna do a little sprinter stretch. So one leg's gonna be folded back this way. So instead of being here, one leg's folded back and then we're gonna lean forward to stretch this hamstring. It's called sprinter stretch. I'm just gonna get these hamstrings loosened up. We're just gonna keep moving up the body. Ankle, knees, hips, upper back, shoulders. That's our flow for the day. Ankles, knees, hips, upper back, and shoulders. All right, switch sides. So you're going to tuck that leg in, lean towards the other one. This is spicy. I need this. I need this too. Don't worry, just tea today. 3 p.m. Just teeing up. We're going to hit these twice. These hamstrings tend to be a little tighter. So we're going to tuck the other leg in. Let's go back. It's been not quite as long on this second stretch. But I think you need it. I have a feeling you do. I know I do. All right, switch. Oh. Sometimes that second pass is where you get all the good stuff. It's like the first one, it just kind of gets things started, and that second pass, you're just like, yep, there it is. I feel like I'm actually getting somewhere now. All right, we're just gonna flow straight into a little pigeon action. So I'm gonna tuck this leg in, kick the other one back. This is a great flow back and forth to go pigeon, and just alternate between things, but we're just gonna pigeon, We're just gonna do this once per side. I think we've done this every day this week. So for today, we're just gonna hit a quick opener. Quick opener, and keep moving. We gotta go glutes and groin for the hips. Glutes and groin. Switch sides. And then back and shoulders. Trying to get through a lot of different things. Normally we do, 3 to 4 different things, and we really try to make them count. There's this type of training that's really popular, especially in like powerlifting. People who just want to be really, really, really strong. It's called the conjugate method. It was made popular by this guy, Louis Simmons, and conjugate method was basically like, there used to be this real traditional way of training. All right, let's get your hips, so we're gonna come up, spread those knees, let the floor kind of split your knees apart, and then we're gonna work back and forth. Sit back, and kind of walk it forward. Yep, there it is. Just let those knees kind of drift apart. Ooh. So conjugate method, the old school strength training was like, well, if you compete in, let's say, bench press, deadlift, and back squat, then, let's just find a linear progression, bench press, back squat, deadlift, and let's work the linear progression, back off when we need to, take deload weeks, and just keep pushing linear progression. It's really popular in the US, this idea about linear progression, that you just progress up over time, which is what you want, but it's not the only way to train. There's step loading and the conjugate method, which conjugate method is not like different than linear progression. It just is a different method of training. And so what they would do is they'll max out on their lifts every week and go as heavy as they can. All right, let's go ahead and rest. And then we're gonna hit back here, a little flexion of the back, and reach like this. And then we're gonna push back, and we're gonna go cat-cow. We'll do 2 cat-cows. And then we'll sit back into child's pose again. 2, sit back. Rock from one side to the other. Cat-cow. So they would max out every week, but they would do a different style of the lift. So one week, they might max out their deadlift with, in a sumo stance. Another week, they might max out their deadlift in a traditional stance. Another week, they might max out their deadlift in a sumo stance with bands. And another week, they might do a traditional stance off of blocks with bands. And they just do a different method. Every single time, and it was, Louis Simmons' goal to train as heavy as possible without overloading nervous systems, but also psychologically, if you're doing like a weird new lift and you're maxing it out, you don't know what you should be able to do, and so there's no psychological part of you that's like, oh, this is my PR, this is where I should be, this is where I'm at, and it kind of settles those things. And so we kind of traditionally take a little conjugate method into stretching. Whereas like instead of stretching everything every day, which is kind of more traditional, let's get your forearms. So we're gonna peel fingers back towards you. Spread your fingers as much as you can, and then we're just gonna kind of work side to side. And we're gonna hit your wrists. We don't do this very often, but we can use it. So, I really like a conjugate approach to stretching, where instead of doing everything for a short period of time every day, most days we do only a few things, but we really try to make them count. That's essentially conjugate method. This idea that you don't have to do everything every single day in a way. if you really make good progression at it. All right, let's flip back the other way. So let's do one at a time here. This is kind of a delicate stretch. Your wrists aren't crazy strong this way, so you should be feeling this run up, up your forearm and even potentially into your elbow. Stretch out those extensors. So that's a very oversimplified kind of conjugate method, is that you don't have to do everything every day. You don't have to work on everything every day. If the things that you do work on, you rotate, but you actually make a really big difference. You can think of it as like, I don't know if let's make this simple. If you're like a basketball player and you're a point guard, instead of working every day on passing, dribbling, shooting, stealing the ball, playing defense, running plays, certain days you really focus on your dribbling skills. And like, that's all that really matters that day. And certain days you really focus on teamwork and, passing the ball, making assists. And the idea is that if you really focus on those and this one's really tight, get better at them all the time without necessarily doing them every single day. Because if you're really going to focus just on, let's say, your dribbling skills, you might not work on shooting that much that day. But on your shooting day, you try to make a tremendous amount of progress. So that's kind of a conjugate method versus a little bit of dribbling, a little bit of shooting, a little bit of passing every single day. It's not right or wrong, but I think it really does work when it comes to mobility. That's finding, 3 or 4 stretches that you can really dig into and open yourself up with. But I'm gonna stop talking because we're done with our flow. Ankles, knees, hips, shoulders, heads and toe. Head, shoulders, knees, and toe. Anyways, thanks for being here, and it was my pleasure. I appreciate you. Comment if you need anything, just let me know, I'll answer. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.